On tap, Orion Premium Draft Beer.
Better beer authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm James Knott and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today we're talking about Orion Premium Draft Beer from the Orion Brewing Company in Okinawa, Japan. Okinawa is an island in southern Japan with over 1.3 million people, and over half the beer they buy on the island is Orion beer. Joby and I recently visited Okinawa. We're at a liquor store in Okinawa, Japan, and when you're in Okinawa, you drink Orion beer. This is by far the best-selling beer in Okinawa, Japan. There's several different varieties like Orion Draft Beer, Orion Special, Orion Zero Life, Orion Rich, Orion Southern Star, and I'm pretty sure that's not all of them. Orion Draft is a Japanese rice lager with 4.7% ABV. It has a pale color and light, clean taste that goes well with Okinawa's hot subtropical climate. Orion is not just a beer in Okinawa, it is part of the culture. There's a huge festival there every year, and it even has its own theme song. In Japanese, Kanpai means cheers. Adam, this is a Japanese rice lager. So it's an adjunct lager, kind of like Bud and Miller. I mean, how does it compare?
You know, it's got more flavor. It's got a little bit higher mouthfeel, and it does have a sweeter taste than your typical American adjunct lager. It has another sweeter taste than even your regular Japanese lagers that you're going for as well.
Joby, you were recently in Okinawa. How does Orion fit into Japanese beer culture?
James, like you said in the intro there, Orion beer is a huge part of the culture. Just a couple side notes that I picked up when we were in Okinawa is whenever you get a new beer at a restaurant, or the first beer or a new beer, you always cheers, or what they say, Kanpai. If you're drinking at home with friends or relatives, out of these bombers here, or even out of cans, you never pour your own beer. You're drinking out of 8-ounce glasses. And if you do need beer, what you do, you pick up the bottle and you pour somebody else's beer.
Hoping they'll get the hint.
Hoping that they get the hint. When it's you don't always get the hint. Sometimes I had to nudge you a little bit.
I'm pretty slow.
Did you get other people to get your hint?
Definitely. I mean, you know, out of 8-ounce glasses, you drink so fast. You're used to drinking out of
what's
16.
that? Two sips for you?
Well, not quite.
So you pour somebody else's beer, and then what was the reaction time? They just noticed that you poured theirs, and they're gonna just automatically fill yours.
If we had a beer here and you needed a beer, I'd pour it. And then you'd say, and I'd say,
okay, I gotcha.
And you go,
Kanpai.
Yeah, exactly, Kanpai. And you drink.
Scott, what sticks out about this beer to you?
I think Adam mentioned that it tasted a little sweet. I noticed when I smelled it that it did have kind of a sweet aroma to it. It's just a lot cleaner than a lot of other beers. It's a little bit smoother than Miller Lite. You could really definitely probably go to a sushi restaurant, and this is the beer I'd pick. I mean, it's not something that you want to drink with a burger or something like that. I'd go with sushi.
Okay, Adam, what's the big picture on this beer?
You know, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. The simple fact, this is not going to be a beer that I'm going to choose over every other beer out there. But again, with the Japanese restaurant concept, I mean, I'm out at a Japanese restaurant. There's Kirin Sapporo and there's some Orion. I'm choosing the Orion. I mean, it's a solid beer. I think it's got a little bit more flavor. It's got that sweet flavor to it over the Kirin and the Sapporo. I really like the beer.
Okay. And Joby, can you give an unbiased rating since you were in Okinawa?
I think my rating is going to be a little biased, James. I'm going to rate this an overall 7, but let me add on to that a little bit. As Adam was saying, at a Japanese restaurant, this really goes good with sushi. You know, it leaves that little bit dry taste in your mouth, and it's got high drinkability. So, no, it's not going to be the perfect beer for all those craft beer drinkers out there, but for a BMC drinker like myself, it's a high drinkability, great pale lager.
Scott, what's the big picture with this beer on you?
Overall, I mean, the beer itself is just a great beer. I mean, it's bland as far as like there's nothing that sticks out. It's not a giant hoppy beer that has notes of pine, citrus, things like that. But it's a very clear beer and it has no aftertaste. So I mean, I think it's a decent beer to drink with sushi. And actually, if I was going to drink beer with sushi, this may be the first beer I'd choose. But depending on what else I'm drinking, if I'm drinking some sake and it has, sake has a good kick to it, I think maybe Kirin or Superior would be actually something that I'd choose to drink alongside that to kind of partner with it, because this really has no taste, and I want something to kind of balance that sake. I'm not a big sake drinker, so I think if you're drinking sake, maybe this isn't the one to pair it with. But my big picture is a 6.
Okay. Orion Beer gets 6.3 Kanpais. Head to Okinawa, Japan, and try it for yourself. Or, if you can't find it at your local bottle shop, then you might be able to find it at a Japanese or Oriental food store. Thanks for watching. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Kanpai.
Better Beer Authority.